Hello, my name is Fleetus Poston, and I'd like to take just a few moments to discuss two key terms that you often hear in discussions when a security disruption or event happens inside of your organization. Those two terms are incident response and incident management. And there's a very critical distinction that we need to determine, and we will discuss between these two terms. As those who've been in the field for any length of time understand the complexities of cybersecurity, these two terms often arise in discussion. While the concepts are closely related, they serve distinct purposes in the event of a security breach and/or disruption. During this presentation, I will aim to clarify the differences between incident management and incident response by providing insights into their respective roles when an incident arises. By understanding these distinctions, organizations can better prepare for and respond to security incidents, ultimately minimizing their impact and ensuring business continuity. Some objectives of this presentation are define incident response and incident management, clearly articulate the roles each concept plays, while highlighting key differences, identifying distinct characteristics and responsibilities associated with incident response and incident management. And then provide some practical, real-life examples and best practices for implementing effective incident response and incident management strategies. Effective incident management requires a comprehensive understanding of both incident response and incidents themselves. By grasping the nuances between them, organizations can develop robust plans to mitigate the impact of security incidents during the event by protecting their assets and maintaining continuity in the face of adversity. From a cybersecurity point of view, two critical concepts often get intertwined but have distinct roles. First is incident response, also known as IR, which focuses on containing and mitigating an immediate security threat or breach, while incident management, or IM, encompasses a broader scope of activities, including preparation, communication, and post-incident analysis. This is not about IR and IR. It's more about understanding the specific roles each plays in incident management. The IR role is to contain and mitigate immediate security threats, while the IM role is there to prepare for, communicate during, and analyze after the incident takes place. There are overlapping responsibilities. Both IR and IM are involved in communications with stakeholders and post-incident analysis. Understanding the definitions ensures that the team can work together effectively to address security incidents. By recognizing the distinct roles of IR and IM, your organization will have enhanced efficiency as teams can streamline their efforts, focusing on what each does best, thus improving communications. With clear communication among stakeholders, ensures everyone knows their responsibilities during an incident, while enabling better outcomes by working together effectively. Organizations can minimize the impact a security event has on their organization. Now let's discuss the scope of incident response. Incident response is a critical aspect of maintaining organizational security. Let's expand the scope of what it entails. First, identify. Swiftly detect and acknowledge the occurrence of an incident. Next, analyze. Conduct thorough analysis to determine the root cause, impact, and potential risk associated with the incident. Contain. Implement immediate measures to limit the spread or escalation of the incident. Then mitigate. Implement temporary measures to reduce the severity of your incident's impact. Next, remediate. Take permanent corrective actions to prevent future incidents of a similar nature. Finally, recover. Restore normal operations and business continuity. This concludes the normal phases of your incident response. Once these phases have been completed, you will move into a time of lessons learned. You'll document key insights gained from the response process, to inform future incident response strategies. Understanding these scopes helps you ensure that incident response teams can effectively address security threats while minimizing the impact on the organization. By covering these critical steps, incident response efforts are streamlined, ensuring a more efficient and effective outcome. The organization can minimize the impact of security incidents while protecting its assets and reputation. During your lessons learned, you're able to make informed decisions in future incidents, as you are informed of the steps, process, and outcomes from previous that will help drive future incident response strategies, enabling a more proactive risk management. Thus, you need to ensure that you update your incident response plans after each incident with the lessons learned to clearly establish procedures for each phase of the incident response process. Additionally, conduct regular exercises and drills to test your incident response plans and ensure that they are effective and up to date. Continuous review and update these plans. Incorporate lessons learned from previous incidents to improve your response efforts, downtime, and any other material losses to your organization. Now let's scope out IM. Incident management is a critical component of your organization's security and business continuity. By focusing on prevention, you are implementing a proactive strategy to prevent incidents from occurring in the first place. Prevention starts by implementing policies, procedures, and technologies. These can be technical and/or administrative controls to help block the low-hanging fruit from ever entering your environment, either at the network or blocking emails that come in that do not meet your standards by implementing DCAM, DMARC, and SPF. Next, detection. Develop and maintain systems for early detection of potential incidents, allowing for swift response. Again, utilize your security controls. Tune them. Make sure you have logging in place that will alert your security operations center on detections that hit their network, their endpoints, to allow them to swiftly respond. Response allows for an immediate action to take place to contain, mitigate, remediate, recover, and document your incidents. This includes communications with your stakeholders, both internal and/or external. This means getting your public relations team involved, your communications team involved, and understanding when to pull in senior leaders and/or your board of advisors. Additionally, this includes a post-incident analysis, which leads into recovery. This is an important part of the IM process, is making sure you return operations to normal, that you've established business continuity while also wrapping up the post-incident activities. By understanding these things, you ensure that IM teams can effectively address the security threats while minimizing the impact to your organization. IM efforts are streamlined, ensuring a more efficient and effective outcome by following repeatable processes, by implementing common language, setting up key stakeholders meetings, timely communications, and organizing project teams who are involved. That's your IR teams, your IT teams, legal, and other entities who may be involved in the process. This improves organizations' ability to minimize their impact because it informs insights. Each level understands their role and responsibility when an IM is initiated. Finance understands their responsibility. IT understands their responsibility. Public relations understands their responsibility to help mitigate future incidents inside of your organization. Now let's jump into the incident response process and recap what we've talked about in previous slides. This process is a structured approach to addressing security threats while minimizing the impact to your organization. During the identification phase, you're going to swiftly detect and acknowledge the occurrence of the incident. You're going to be able to properly understand the impact to your organization by analyzing to determine the root cause, your impact, and potential risk associated with that during your analysis phase. Depending on what happened during the identification analysis page, you'll understand the containment process. Containment is implementing immediate measures to limit the spread. This could be putting in a firewall to block the IP. This could be putting a content filter in to block the websites that people are surfing to by blocking the URL or URI. This could be implementing hashes in your endpoint detection and response to block files from executing. These are opportunities to quickly contain the attack. In the event of a ransomware, this may simply be unplugging the network cable from the rack, the server, or the workstation. Eradication means now you're taking steps to eliminate the underlying cause of the incident to prevent future occurrences. As we discussed in the containment, those quick blocks now will need to be determined if they can be permanent. Can you leave that IP blocked, or does your organization need to access it, as that IP is associated with a key system that your finance team does? Can you block the hash of a file permanently, or does that file need to be cleaned and sent back to the user to interact with as it's an invoice that they need to pay for a big project that is coming up? These are steps you need to understand during your incident response process. Then you'll move into the restore phase of recovery. This is getting everyone back to what they were prior to the event. This is the time when you will re-image a workstation, where you will remove all the data and uninstall and clean the server and then restore from a validated backup, doing a validated restore. During recovery, you're trying to get the organizations back running at least 90, if not 100%, to allow business to continue, which leads you into the importance of documentation. You should be documenting all of these steps during the identification, analysis, containment, and eradication, as well as your recovery, so that when you get to your lesson learned phase, you're able to glean and gain valuable insight on how things went, what was your strengths, what was your weaknesses, and what opportunities does your organization have to improve. This is where you will want to update your incident response plans. You will want to organize tabletops to practice these scenarios in a controlled environment. And additionally, this is where you will take the information you've learned and share it with your leadership team. By understanding the IR approach, your incident response teams can effectively address future threats, thus minimizing the risk to your organization. IR should be streamlined. The outcomes of the incident response plan is there to protect your company and its assets while informing future risk mitigation strategies. As we've discussed before and mentioned in this slide, ensure you have an incident response plan. Ensure you're conducting regular tabletop exercises to test this. And give feedback to your teams involved. Make sure you're collaborating, fostering a strong relationship between IT, security, compliance, legal, and any third-party entities to make sure that you have a unified response. Communication is key. Effectively communicate with stakeholders throughout the entire incident response process. Maintain records to help you determine the root cause analysis and allow your organization to learn and grow from each and every incident. Now let's dive into your IM process. First, we're going to start with reporting. This is making sure that you've captured details of the incident. This is working with your incident response teams, your IT teams, to make sure that you've captured concise and accurate details of the incident. Next, you're going to move into the classification. You want to make sure that you understand the severity and the priority of the incident. Is this something that can be handled within minutes to hours with localized impact? Or does it need to be escalated to bring in additional resources within inside the organization because it's now a high or a critical event that could cost downtime, a large monetary loss, or potentially cripple the organization and cause it to go out of business? Next, you want to start assigning the appropriate resources from the appropriate teams. You want to activate your incident response plan, which outlines who needs to be contacted and when. Do you need to engage law enforcement? Do you need to engage legal, your public relations team? These assignments will be addressed during your IM process by activating the incident response procedure and or plan. Next, you'll work into implementing solutions to fix the incident. Is this blocking and tackling by your IT and IR team? Is this getting a communications posted to your users? Or is this working with your executive leadership team to make a public statement and a PR release to protect the brand recognition and reputation? At the end of the incident, you want to make sure that you have taken the lessons learned and document the resolution and corrective actions that you will ask the team to implement once you've returned it to business as usual. By following these IM processes, you're enabling your organization to be able to capture the data, determine its severity and priority, get the proper resources assigned, implement solutions that allows you to recover, and finally, be able to learn and grow from each and every event that takes place. Now, let's just take a few seconds to recognize the difference in the objectives, as you've heard me talk about in the previous two slides regarding IR process and IM process. During your IR, you're mainly focusing on containment, mitigation, and recovery from an incident, where IM is there to prevent, detect, and manage incidents to minimize the impact. So, Flutus, this may be confusing. Can you pause and share this again? IM processes is there to look, let's use a medical analogy, pre-mortem and post-mortem. They're there to take into effect what your organization can do during an effective run state when business is normal. What can we do to protect ourselves and prevent the incident? Your IR team is there during the detection, your mortem, to make sure that they can contain it and mitigate it. And then your post-mortem, what happens after the event. This is where the IR team and the IM team have both done their post-analysis. The IR team's post-analysis is implementing new blocking and tackling, putting in new controls, where the IM's post-analysis is documenting and making sure that the organization is positioned to respond more effectively, both from a technical point of view, but also from an administrative point of view, that their leadership team is aware of the risk of the organization, the controls that's been put in place, and enabling your communication team, your PR team, and your senior leaderships to all understand what happened from this incident. Let's focus on stakeholders for a moment. We've been talking heavily about the security team. They are just one stakeholder in an incident management process and team. You also will have other lines of businesses, your finance team, your communications team, your PR team, and any other line of businesses who are impacted by the specific incident. Then you'll have your IT/networking team. They will provide technical expertise on what IP belongs to what asset in their asset database, who has access to what data center if it's a physical event that led to a cyber incident, where and how you access cloud security or cloud service providers and SaaS applications, and who has access to them. And then additionally, you have your legal team, your general counsel, who's there to help with any compliance and legal impacts from the incident. So it is important to engage your stakeholders effectively and early on. Make sure that you're using common language, that you are interpreting and translating technical information into data that aligns with risk that your business can easily understand. A report to your CFO will be different than a report to your CISO. Make sure you take time to involve your stakeholders, but doing it in an effective manner that uses language that they understand and that is common, concise, and has clarity to allow information to be passed along, thus enabling an effective response during your incident. I'd like to give you an analogy that may help drive this topic home. Incident response is like firefighting, while incident management is like building a fire-resistant house. Incident response is like firefighting because it contains the blaze before it spreads. Incident management is like building a fire-resistant house because it's there to prevent fires from occurring in the first place. This quote highlights the distinct approaches of incident response in IM. While IR focuses on containing and mitigating immediate security threats, IM emphasizes proactive measures to prevent incidents from occurring. By understanding these concepts, organizations can adapt a comprehensive approach to address security threats such as malware, ransomware, social engineering attacks to minimize their impact while ensuring their business continuity. That concludes our presentation as we were able to take some time to talk about the importance of integrating both approaches within inside of your organization. By using a holistic approach to cybersecurity, it requires both incident response and incident management to be effective and mitigate the risk that organizations continue to see in their environments. We will continue to see an uptick on threat actors who are attacking our organizations. It's up to us to make sure that we have policies, procedures, and techniques in place to allow our organization to have effective incident response and an incident management program in the event of a cyber incident. I thank you for joining today. If you found this content interesting, please take a moment to like and subscribe. If you have any comments, please add them to the comment section below. I hope this presentation allowed you to sit and reflect on the differences between incident response and how it plays into incident management, while how incident management is in place to enable your IR and security teams to effectively have policies, procedures that allows them to proactively and reactively attend to cyber incidents inside of your environment.